Good evening. Today we are reading this newspaper, May 11th, and this wonderful article about very stupid the government of Taiwan. First of all, Taiwan is not a country. I know that many viewers in the West will say, come on, they have their own currency, they have their own president, they choose the president, they even have their own writing, whatever, and they have trading with all the countries. So why it's not a country? Actually, it is not a country. First of all, about the language. The language is the same as in China. Only one difference that in China mainland, they made a reform. They made characters simplified. So in China mainland, they write characters in a more simple way. And Taiwanese, they use the traditional way. So that's why we have the simplified version and traditional characters. Yeah, it's the same language, first of all. It's the same culture. Yeah, if you say they speak differently, it's called a dialect. For example, in big countries like America, for example, in the central part, in the eastern part, in the western part, north and south, they have different pronunciations, China has much longer history, so those dialects are even stronger, and they develop not into like accents like in America, but into dialects. They are very different, but they all belong to the same language. So the same language, the same culture, the same writing. And historically, the people who are called themselves like Taiwanese, Taiwan government, it was the so-called civil war in China in the beginning of 20th century. And by the end of that war, part of the Chinese people who lost the war, they found refuge on the island with a wonderful name, Taiwan. Yeah. So it was the same Chinese people who lost civil war and they escaped. They found a refuge there. That's all. So if you want to create a new nation or whatever, it's stupid. So I highly recommend, guys, if you don't know about it, just read some books, read some history books, because short videos are really brainwashing. They will tell you that Taiwan, for example, is a country. They even tell you that Taiwan is an independent, maybe, but it's bullshit. It's bullshit. Because under all international agreements, Taiwan is part of China. Only like that, whether you like it or not. It's a fact. It's not an opinion like I want it like that. No, it's a fact. So every time you see this politician, that politician, they mistakenly call Taiwan a country, please be alert, because you are the most vulnerable part of the society. You're easily to get brainwashed because you don't create short videos, you watch short videos. It means the information that you get every day is already given to you. So you don't have a choice. That's why I highly recommend to read books to understand the history of China. And you will see that Taiwan is actually, it's just China. Yes, it is. Taiwan is China, 100%. And recently there are, of course, different talks about it, this and that. But if you are just support so-called common sense, you will see that there is no other explanations as to just Taiwan is a part of China, just like that. And it's very easy to explain from the culture, like from politics, from language, whatever, any aspect. Well, but unfortunately, in this newspaper, I read an article today about very stupid Taiwanese government. Wow, at my age, I have never seen this stupidity Well, sometimes some presidents behave really stupid, like, for example, American president, but Taiwanese president is really stupidity number one. He is worshipping Japanese colonists. Can you imagine that? Well, long time ago, even before the Civil War, before they found a refuge there, a long time ago, many centuries ago. Wow, really, like such a long time ago, Japanese occupied that island and they made a colony there. And you know what? It's really interesting. It's also very important, guys, to read books about the history of Japan. Japanese history of colonizing is really long, including 20th century. So Japan was colonizing other countries centuries ago, and even in the last century, 20th century, they were everywhere. They were killing people, invading countries, made very huge, large-scale historical massacres. They annexed Korean Peninsula, and did a lot of bullshit, including establishing a fake country on the territory of China. Well, these are real facts, and if you don't know about them, again, read books. Stop watching short videos. Well, in this article, the leader of Taiwan said, we should remember we should remember the engineer. Yeah, we should remember the engineer who designed and built a kind of a reservoir. It's like the place where people store water. So, and that guy was from Japan, a designer, an engineer from Japan, and now Taiwanese government is worshipping him, and they try to remember him, his name, and the leader of Taiwan said something like, "Oh, that guy was one of our own." How on earth? Japanese guy on Chinese territory, one of our own? It's and the next thing he said that guy was part of the family. It's complete craziness. The guy is just insane, and I really wish that he will go one day to a psychologist or to a mental institution and treat all his mental illnesses, because to worship colonists is, it's already initially, from the beginning, it's wrong, right? No one would ever worship colonists. Guys, my dear viewers, I don't know from which country you are, but imagine you were ever colonized, or maybe some of you were colonized before in history. Would you ever say good things about colonists who colonized you? It's gonna very simple answer. I think no one in the world would do that, but this leader of Taiwan is doing it, and what I believe that he's truly insane, and that government, to be honest, is not qualified to be a government, because he's not governing. He's saying anti-human things, or he's not following common sense. Yeah? He's not following common sense. And he even quoted a very famous phrase. I will tell you later whose phrase was that. He said, "Oh, we should remember the source when drinking water." This is a kind of a very popular phrase in China. To be honest, it was Mao Zedong. It was Comrade Mao who said it first. And he said it while he was visiting one of the places in China mainland. It's a very, very famous phrase and very important. Everyone in China knows that. And now, the leader of Taiwan says the same words about Japanese colonists. Now, just tell me, please, dear viewers, don't you think it's craziness? Well, some researchers, for example, one professor at the Taiwan Research Institute of Xiamen University, told the Global Times. So, yeah, this paper is Global Times. He told Global Times on Sunday that Japanese who built their reservoir during the colonial time and the Japanese who massacred Taiwan compatriots were fundamentally no different in their motives. I totally agree. They're always forgetting that colonists were murderers. They massacred a lot of people. They raped a lot of women. They killed children in cold blood. You know, they did a lot of scare things, frightful, frightening, unhuman things. And he's forgetting about it. He thinks, oh, that guy, that engineer, he built a water reservoir. Woo, great. Let's say, oh, such a good guy. Yeah, let's worship him. Don't forget, he gave us water. He forgot he brought death to the island. Death. And there were hundreds and thousands of people just losing their lives for nothing under Japanese attacks. Unfortunately, people don't read history that much, and they are forgetting everything. So, dear viewers, please don't get brainwashed. History is very interesting. Open the books and read. A lot of interesting books are written, and a lot of research is made. Just read them, including researches from Western countries, not necessarily by Chinese authors. Of course, Chinese authors are very important, and even Western countries, American researchers, they would say the same thing, because they are researchers. Don't trust those short videos who can tell you that Taiwan is a country. No, not like that. And please stop worshiping colonists. I think every mentally healthy person would hate colonism. Colonial thinking is sick. People are free. Freedom is the most important thing in the world. And to say these kind of absolutely pointless things is just a sign of insanity. All right, guys. I just was getting a little bit emotional right now because this kind of stuff is not for humans. I don't know what kind of person is that. Maybe this is a robot, AI robot, because any human, I think, couldn't do that. Because every person has dignity. Let's think about their own dignity. Someone who at least needs his face or at least has his heart would never ever do that. Good night, everybody.